dolls, and some of the dolls you see here are the ones in the picture, others are just from that time period. In this photograph is this stand, and also is this white cabinet right there. So those are both original to the house. And I want to point out the way we got that bed set up there, because in Jean's nature book, Moths of the Limberlost, she writes that in the months of May and June especially, she slept in this room on a bed. At the head of the bed she put a chair, and on the chair she put a box of cocoons. And those cocoons, the moths were due to emerge during the months of May and June especially. So if she were sleeping and a moth came out, she would wake up and study and photograph it. Now I, as an animal person, have witnessed moths come out of cocoons a few times. Very, very little noise, tiny scratchy sounds. I'm amazed she could be sleeping there and hear that moth come out and wake up. She has really tuned into it, apparently. Yep. And here is a picture of, once again, Jean's father, Mark Stratton. This time he's holding Jean's daughter, Jeanette. So that's grandchild grandpa. And that's a drawing. That's not a photograph. She took a very faint photographic print that gave her positions, like the outlines of things. And then she drew that on top of it with charcoal and pencil. So that's pretty amazing. Now, we think when someone came to stay, like the artist who drew for the book Freckles, this was the guest bedroom suite. So you had a bedroom there, and then you had a little sitting room, or maybe your kids could sleep in here. There's a doorway, and then there's a little porch off there too that you could even go out before you go to bed and have a smoke or something like that. And normally we'd kind of go out there, but I have a large group and it's kind of wet anyway, so we'll just tell you about it out there. Now, I'll have everybody come into this room now, and take a look at those shoes as you come in. Those belong to Jean. They were hers, she wore them. I'll stand back here and tell you about all the things in this room that are original, which is a lot, actually. First of all, the bedroom set you see here, the 3 pieces of furniture, that's original. It's made up in Grand Rapids, Michigan. And the veneer, the wood veneer you see is burled walnut, very beautiful hardwood. And here you can have your headboard custom made. So the bird woman, she wanted owls to watch over you at night, right? So she had owls carved in. And besides those being Jean's shoes over there, this is one of her parasols she actually used. What do you use a parasol for? Umbrellas are used for rain. What's a parasol used for?
Sun up the way.
Yes, we'll talk about that in just a second.
Sun.
The sun, exactly. That's to keep the sun off you, right? So that was one of Jean's parasols. And then I want to mention that fantastic butterfly moth insect collection. There's just a few other insects. That dates back to 1906. That's original. And it's pretty old. It's fallen apart a little bit, but it goes way back, almost as far as the pump organ, almost. And next to it is a painting hanging on the wall. It's an original oil painting done by Jean of one of her favorite flowers, blue flag iris. Now, I'm going to squeeze over here behind you and show you all something here.
I can be invisible.
You are only invisible to yourself. I see you. In this jewelry box, we have 2 pieces of jewelry. It belonged to Jean. Very special stuff. That pin in the middle is made of gold, onyx, and pearl. And Jean's husband gave that to her on their first wedding anniversary. And in this photograph we have right next to the jewelry, she's wearing it on her neck collar. You all look at that when you walk by. Now, surrounding that pin is an engraved coin necklace. Each coin has a letter on it. It spells out Geneva Stratton Porter. Charles gave that to Jean on their 5th wedding anniversary. They were wed April 21st, 1886. And the last thing I want to show you all in this room, this is the only other example we know of where Jean took a very faint photographic print and drew on it with charcoal and pencil. And this time it's her daughter Jeanette when she was older and living here in this house. And they had a pet parrot. See that parrot there? Right there. His name was the Major. The Major. And so Jean drew this with charcoal and pencil of Jeanette and the Major. And that's amazing. You have to look hard to realize that's not a photograph. Yeah. Now, since I worked in 4 different zoos, I've actually worked a lot with parrots. And I think every parrot I ever met had the same attitude. It was the boss of the world. They're always in charge. They're loud. They tell you all about it. I love parrots, but never, ever have a parrot as a pet. Ever. It is not a good idea. So go to the zoo to look at parrots. That's where you want to see them. Yeah, so I speak from experience. I never had one as a pet, but I was around enough to know what they're like. You know, some of these parrots are like having a 2 or 3 year old child who lives 60 to 80 years but never gets beyond the 2 to 3 year old stage. So think about that. She's like, ah! All right. Now, do you all think there could possibly be anywhere a secret passageway in this house that goes from one room to the other and you don't know? What do you think? Oh, yeah, you guys You're on the ball. Well, guess what? That's a closet. That's a closet. Yeah, that's a closet, and it's interesting because it has a big window in it. Remember, no electricity in the house when it was built. Having a window in your closet made a lot of sense, and you can even open up the window. But guess what? You're correct. That's our secret passageway. Open the door. Let's go. Here we go to our next room. Yeah. That's it. Here we are. This is where our secret passageway goes. No, it doesn't work. I'll show it off. All right, let's get in here. I'll get way over here. This is a little bit smaller than the others, so we'll just make room for everybody. All right, so our secret passageway leads us into the bathroom. And when this house was completed in 1895, nobody else in town had a flush toilet. There was no city sewage and water system, so nobody could have a flush toilet. That's where the toilet paper goes, just like nowadays. You got a toilet paper holder, right? And so the porters had to have their own system. They collected rainwater from the gutters on the carriage house. They had a good day for that. And that went into an underground cistern in the backyard. And there used to be a windmill right out there in the backyard that pumped water to a storage tank upstairs. So when you flushed the toilet, it just filled up automatically because you had several hundred gallons of water right above you. How do you flush this toilet? Where's the... Oh yeah, you know. This has got one of these. This doesn't work, of course, but that's how you flush it. Yeah, sorry, I can't flush it. Doesn't work.
Don't worry.
All right. Now, bathtub. Now that just holds this on the wall. That's all it does. It's just a holder. Doesn't do anything else. This is the original bathtub. Now look at that tub, long and deep. Every bathtub should be long and deep.
It can go up and water can come in.
That one still works because we use it to fill up water for water in our plants. And that's the original marble sink. So, so that all these things in here original. Now you don't want to take a cold bath. You want a hot or warm bath. So you need a hot water heater like that. Now pieces of that are missing, including the burner. But the idea was you could have some matches up here and turn on the gas to the burner, light it, and then the water came in through those coils and heated up and went to a storage tank you'll see in the next room. So that's how you had hot water. Now the most amazing thing about this room is that when Jean Stratton Porter moved into this house, she did not own a camera. Her daughter bought her first camera the first Christmas they lived here. So Jean had no idea she was going to need a dark room to develop her photographs. These young people, they have no idea what that even means. But Jean couldn't just, see her pictures right away like we do. She had to bring them in to a room that was dark, and she had to use this as a kerosene lantern. You have to light it with a match, and this gives off red light. And that way Jean could develop her photographs in the red light, because white light ruins your pictures, red light doesn't. So she had to use this to develop. So for about 17 years, this was her dark room. So she spent a lot of time in this room. All right then, let's go around the corner into our next room.
Someone's room. Hey, what about
Yeah, we're not going upstairs. Yeah, it's not all fixed up. Yeah, this is the kitchen. But you know what else about the kitchen besides cooking food? Jean had to finish her photographic process out here. That's why you see the table laid out like this. Yep. Jean writes that she used her own turkey and meat platters, and that's why you see things like this here, with chemicals from her husband's drugstore to fix and wash and rinse her photographs. Then she hung them up to dry, kind of like you do laundry. Only you don't use clothespins, you have special clips like you see here that allow very small surface area to touch the photograph, because those marbles are globes. And these marbles are glass, so they're inert, so they're not going to affect the drying chemicals. So that's how Jean would hang up the photographs. Now, she had 4 cameras she took out and about to the swamp and marsh and places like that, and they didn't use film, they used glass plates similar to what you see there. And so there were light films. See, I'll hold this up to the light, you can see that there's a picture on there of something, a house by the lake. And so that's like having a film, only it's on glass instead. And that's how her cameras worked. And she had the different size cameras. Get that back to its place there. And her largest camera weighed about 40 pounds. It's still on a tripod. So that was a pretty big chunk, yeah. She was probably in super good shape back in those days when she was out and about in the swamp. All right, these are glass plate holders for a smaller camera, and there's a bigger glass plate holders over there for a bigger camera. Now, nothing here in the room's original, except the built-in pantry behind the young ladies there. That was here when the house was completed. But we know Jean had a zinc top table, like you see one here. Behind her was her sink. Nope, that didn't work. And this is the tank that held all the hot. These very Does this work? Does that work? And
Get
this is the
on
tank,
it.
that helped water. Lots of water in there. And they had some sort of gas stove right here where this one is. We don't know exactly, but that's very typical of the time period. Look how beautiful that stove is. It's like a sculpture.
How about you cook?
Cook? Are you cooking? Do you know how to cook? No? Not even toast?
I don't have to make sandwiches.
Okay, he knows how to make sandwiches. There you go. All right. Well, Jean did a lot of cooking here until she got rich and hired somebody to do it for her. But well, I want to tell you, as beautiful as this weighs over 400 pounds. So I'll carry it in. I can testify. 4 guys on each corner had to pick that thing up and carry it in. And we took off everything that we possibly could from it. All right. Let's see. One more thing about what's that?
That work?
No, this doesn't work. It's not hooked up to gas. If it was hooked up to gas, this would work. I mean, this is in excellent shape. And so if it did actually have a real gas line to it, you could cook on this thing. Yeah. Now, over there by that chair is a pair of boots. See those boots there? And that's very similar to what Jean wore out and about. Kind of like we put hikers on to go out. She had rubber boots and chest waders to go out in the water. Like I do. I wear rubber boots and chest waders. I'm a naturalist. I go out and wade around the swamp and stuff. And down south, I spent a lot of time in the swamp. I was an alligator swamp expert in those days. Yeah, I still have all my fingers and toes. I do have scars on my arm though where a gator bit me on the arm. Now, Jean would have worn those and had to lace them all the way up. There's no zipper on the side like we have nowadays, right? I got a pair of boots with a zipper on the side, so I cheat. But Jean didn't have that, so she had to lace them all the way up. And then when you had to take your boots off, this is something called a boot jack. And I got one that looks just like this. I have an antique boot jack that looks exactly like that. Only the paint's worn off, and that's iron and mine steel, but it is the same thing. So say I want to take my shoes off and I want to bend over. See, I put one foot there, and I put the heel there, I pop off the shoe. Then I do this, and I can pop off my shoe or my boot or anything, and I use mine to take my rubber boots off all the time. I'm getting kind of old. I don't like bending over as much anymore like I used to, right? So I like using this boot jack to do that. And these boots would have given Jean some pretty good protection against the small rattlesnake that lived out there when she was living out there. It's called the Massasauga, or the swamp rattler. It was only a couple feet long, so it didn't have a big striking range. And I worked with rattlesnakes down south, and copperheads and cottonmouths, and so I have experience with that, so I can say that I feel those would be good. Now, if there's a big rattlesnake like I worked with, biggest one I ever caught, almost as long as I am tall, it was 5.5 feet. I'm 6 foot, and it weighed 10 pounds. It was bigger around than my arm. And I crawled underneath a house with a headlamp and a snake hook and pulled it out. That was one of the scariest things in my life. I admit, I was pretty nervous, but I did it. I got it out. The police had called me for my help because, you know, people are freaking out. Oh, there's a giant rattlesnake under my house. So the cops called me, and I went in there and got it out. And, you know, as bad as that was, when I got down there, they said, there's a big rattlesnake under there. I went down underneath there, and guess what? There were 2 big rattlesnakes down there. So I had to crawl back under and pull the other one out. Yeah, that was exciting. All right.
And everybody will be.
I'm too scared.
Oh, this nice room. This was Jean's favorite.